You may be seated.
Susan.
Ellen, you'll come early to the township meeting, please.
Oh, thank you.
Now they're getting better looking.
Getting better looking now, he's reading.
The minutes being reported to aid in the preparation. Approval of the minutes. July 1, 2015.
There are two corrections that Cece pointed out to me on page 2. The engineer's report should be said dated July 1st instead of June 1st. That was just a case where I didn't change. And on page 3, I did not capitalize Hill on Susquehanna Hill Road. So those will be changed for the book.
I'll make a motion that the minutes be approved, subject to those two changes.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. All those in favor give their consent saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Visitors.
Brian Peters.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here this evening representing the Penn Township Board of Supervisors. I'd like to start, first of all, I made an opportunity today to speak to Representative Mark Keller and Senator Teplett's office referencing to the grant situation of what's going on here with the authority. Both gentlemen's office, particularly Mr. Keller, I spoke to directly. I spoke with Jonathan Hendrickson from Teplett's office. He says both of their officers would be more than interested if the authority would contact their officers. They would be more than glad to see what they can do to help the authority with this situation with the grant and possibly securing future grants with no guarantee, but to help this process with the authority. So we'd ask the authority to reach out to Teplett's and to Mark Keller to see what they can do. They are elected officials. Mark actually has committees that he sits on that represents these grants and some grants, and Mr. Teplett's actually sits on the committee for the what's the committee? The local government committee. So he's very much interested in seeing how, if the board wishes to seek out his help. Second, here I'd like to present that the Board of Supervisors did have a meeting this evening prior to yours, referencing to the Sunshine Hill Water Project. And it says, dear authority members, on August 5th, 2015, the Penn Township Board of Supervisors voted to support the municipal authority in their pursuit of the Sunshine Hill Water Project, company's water project, and it's signed by all three supervisors. And I'd like to present this to you this evening.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Absolutely. And if you'd like, I can get a hold of Susie tomorrow or whenever and get her the contact numbers for Teplett's office and for Mark Keller's office.
That would be great. Fine. I'll hand that over. Biggest concern that I have at the present moment is tomorrow, PETA called, is that their final declaration on the present issues that we have at hand. And with those present issues, it takes us below the 51 percentile that we're in. So the issue that we have at hand and the present scope of the project where we're at is basically not going to, it's not possible to conduct it in any way possible. We've spent the last month and a half looking at every option, talking. Even within the last week, we went back through over everything, the second time, third time, fourth time. And without us being able to pick up the additional customers to make that survey work, everything we did with that survey becomes a non-viable source for us. So as far as getting in contact with them, I think it's a very good idea, but everything's going to end up starting all over and brand new. Okay, and as frustrating as it is for us, hopefully we get something and get good news out of the direction that you're recommending we go.
Well, and I'm just FYI, they told me to have you contact them as soon as possible. Politicians are amazing sometimes.
Yes, okay.
So I
Can-
really encourage you to try to put that on a priority and contact their office.
Can you do that tomorrow, Susan?
I'm sorry, yes, I can. What am I doing?
Contact-
It's like, damn, what am I doing?
I'll give you my cell phone number, you can go ahead and give me a
Or
call.
have Karen do it, I don't, either way, but
You want us to,
Contact Teplett's office and Mark Keller's office and see if there's anything they can do to help this project.
you will make sure she gets the right information
Yes,
for that?
yeah.
Okay.
You want to take my number and give me a call, ma'am?
yes, please.
636
Thank you.
3863.
Thank you, Ron.
Where you get that number?
Yeah.
Or would it be better for us to have you? I ain't gonna time tomorrow, we just ain't gonna wait for me to do it. If you have any questions tomorrow, you got my number, give me a call then, please, okay? Talk to me about
Okay.
it, okay? Next,
Bob Johnson,
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Stanley?
Just wanted the meetings being reported tonight, it wasn't mentioned at the beginning of the meeting.
Yes, he
yes, it
did.
was.
Oh, did
He
it?
did say the minutes, meeting's recorded.
Okay.
Right here it is.
Now-
Red light's on.
Okay, that'll be a continuation then
Okay.
from last month on?
Jim Fickle? Mr. Gauss? No. Mrs. Gauss? No. That's it.
Okay, reports of the professional staff. Engineers report.
Okay, is everybody in receipt of our August 5th, 2015 report? Three items right now on the report. First being the Sunshine Hills Water Treatment Storage Project. As you're aware of the letter that was produced by Mr. Dane Green of CEDACOG on July 24, 2015. I believe all the authority members have received that letter and had a chance to review it and yeah. Well, what it says is that basically CDBG funding is really related to the Fouts Apartments, and it was discussed that Fouts Apartments needs to connect to the authority water system, and that the DCED will require the authority to demonstrate financial viability of the project, even if that was to occur. If they would reconsider, plus there was stipulations in there about meeting the consent order agreement that was handed down to Fouts from DEP, that the system had to be up and running by October timeframe of 2015, and that there would be financial reimbursement to Fouts if they did connect to the authority system, and for their design engineering cost that they would forego, being that then they would connect. So those would be costs that would be incurred by the authority, and also other related costs, which would be providing the Fouts Apartment bottled water, which are all additional costs to the authority, which then would take away from the monies that could be spent on the project. So anyway, it wasn't very promising, that letter, in that we there's still, I guess, the possibility for reconsideration, but it doesn't look very promising, realistic, I guess. Mr. Green had said he talked to David Gray and Don Enrico from DCED to discuss these matters with the CDBG funding. So the other item, depending upon whether that occurs or not, we have bids that are that remain open until August 20th. That would be the 120 days from the time of the bid opening that we have to make a decision, take action, whether to accept the bids or reject the bids. So, so we'll have to need to take action, whether it's at tonight's meeting or sometime after that time. It may be a decision made at the JOAC meeting, whether, you know, what we're going to do.
I think we could probably just about make a decision this evening. We could probably make that decision and make it effective for, next week, after we get a chance to talk to Mr. Mark Keller and them.
Okay, that's what I
We can always
figured.
rescind it if there is a possibility, but I'm gonna say that, okay, that keeps the window open.
Right, and that's what I figured with what was said tonight,
Okay,
so.
we'll discuss as much as we can. That gives
Yeah.
us a week to, or we can make it even next Wednesday. Gives you a whole week to discuss it instead of a short window that the 10th is. Yeah, it will be next week.
It's Monday.
Yep, it's a short number, not long.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that gives us 10 days, but we would then need to know, issue letters in either regard, accepting or rejecting the bids, so.
Do we want to address this for the engineer right now, that we give
I think we should.
one
tell
week,
them, yeah.
1 week extension here, and at the
Tell
end
them.
of that, we either pull the plug, or unless we got written guarantees or something, but I don't see no written guarantee coming out of this, because there's no way we can come up with 51% to
Without
make this
balance,
practical
yeah.
and work.
Right.
We've discussed this many a times in regards to this. Do I hear a motion to do that?
I'll make it. I'll second.
Motion for August 12th. That's 1 week from tonight.
There'll be a letter to reject or to notify that we're not.
Yes, Randy will have the ability, if we cannot come up with some positive stuff here, that it can be locked down.
Okay.
Okay? Is that enough time for you to take care of everything, Randy?
Yep. Well, if we have the 12th, we have 8 days for me to get the letter. It would be, yeah. So we'll take.
Randy, I got a question.
Sure.
You know, there was that drop dead date of tomorrow
Right.
that we had to give this great guy a year or May.
Right, they wanted the financial institutions
Yeah.
proving financial viability of the project.
An agreement with Fouts.
And an agreement with Fouts, and we, there,
Do we have to tell him that he's not getting a letter from us?
yeah, I think
Verifying
we
that?
should probably do that. Do you want me to do that, or do you want,
Sure.
okay,
Yeah, just tell him, thanks, but no thanks.
okay. Yeah, and again, you know, the October 2015, that's not even doable at this
Yep.
point, because we would have had to start construction when we,
When we had it originally
yeah.
planned.
Yeah.
So we can't meet that, but there was discussion with DEP that maybe they'll give an extension, but that understood, but there's no guarantees with that either, so.
Also, you say on there about reimbursing Faust Apartments for
Yeah.
costs incurred and so on.
Right.
Yeah, well, they're already in the process
I
of
don't see that happening.
correcting all their things.
That's your
right
problem now.
Yeah.
We might, I'll push it for that.
Works for me.
Okay, next.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, there was a motion.
you
didn't
vote
Yeah.
Second, right, Susan?
Yeah, it was.
Mr. Coker and Mr. Knob,
All right,
deadline of August 12th.
any more discussion? All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Next.
Next item on the agenda here was Michael Ward, MW2 Incorporated Sewer Plan Review. We did receive, ultimately, shop drawings that were in the format that were acceptable to us. We reviewed those as of July 17th. We approved the shop drawings that were submitted. I have your copy of what was sent in and approved. And on July 20th, we came back to Akins Engineering, the developers, Mr. Ward's engineer, and asked for a construction schedule. And I just received that, which I think I had forwarded that to you folks as well.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody's got a copy of that? Okay. And the projected start date at this point is Monday, August 17th. Okay. So we do have that. It's a very, condensed schedule, but we think that, the work should be able to be performed in that amount of time. It's a 2-week period. And we have people set aside to be here to inspect that work as it occurs, okay? So we just got this on, I think, Monday afternoon after I sent out the engineer's report, so I didn't bother to revise this.
I'm sorry, Randy, not to interrupt, but
Yeah.
what, with everything going on, what's the start date supposed to be on that?
August 17th.
Thank you.
And I had forwarded a copy of this to Sarah Wigglesworth at DEP as well, because she was interested in everything that would transpire in the project. So I haven't received any comment or response back from her in that regard. So, any questions? Next item is the flow analysis report, and I guess Mr. Chisholm and Mr. Hill from our office had a discussion where there would be no changes to the flow analysis report that was previously submitted, prepared and submitted by our office, so it will stand as it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the authority's information, it's since the recalibration of the flow meter, the corrections that were made, and I feel very strongly a modification of their water usage, which I won't bother going into why I feel that. They are now down to averaging around 8,000 or 9,000 a day, as opposed to 12 or 13. One other additional item while the engineer's still here, in regards to King Cora, we are getting, what are we getting, Sam?
Bedding stones.
And
Getting what?
Bedding stones.
and 8, what are the bigger ones?
It's all A's.
Okay, well, thumbnail, this big.
Get 1 B's, 2 B's in it.
Okay, that's it, thank you. That was completely gone, I couldn't think of it. But we're going to have to pursue that.
You think that's from the new installation?
It's still to be determined, Jeff. We're gonna have to pull lids and
We were going to
Push
look
comes
through
to
the
shove,
lines
we'll
and
have
see
to
if we
get
can give you
televised.
some more info on that. Try to research it, give you more info on it,
Mhm.
but it's happening, and it seems to be happening quite a bit lately, where it hadn't been that way
You're getting them down at the plant or the manhole before the plant, or
in the plant.
in the plant?
Has the flow rate, the water meter been reading higher at that
The water meter has not changed in all the months she's been reading it.
Okay.
It has not used 1,000 gallons yet.
Where?
I'm sorry, maybe I'm misunderstanding him. I'm thinking of, never mind, I'm thinking of Mr. Morrison's water meter that we read for billing purposes.
Okay, I was thinking King Cora only, I forgot. Okay, I understand. But anyhow, the stones are coming down.
Okay, so if the pump runs on, and every time it gets a good heavy push, it pushes it out, pushes it down through, it would stumble out. Is it everyday constant, or is
There's
it?
no way to tell, honey. What happened was when we pulled because of the way the patients at the nursing home did things
Mhm.
beyond the control of the staff,
Mhm.
they ruined the commuter that was installed there within 2
Right.
years of its
And the
installation.
bar screen that we have right now, I understand that, yes.
We're doing it all at the bar screen.
Okay.
But the housing that did hold the commuter and the trough that led to it
Mhm.
are full of stones now. And I feel that we have to pursue this because wherever they're coming from, they shouldn't be in there.
Well, we have two points of connection there right now, so we need to look at all options there.
And Sam and I have discussed it. We'll try to go back through the manholes and see if we can at least see a point where they start being there. I just wanted to bring that up while Randy was still talking.
I made a note of it.
If you take a look at the as-built drawings, you'll probably see that the line coming in, the last line should be the flattest. So you might be able to see some more stuff backing up at that point before.
Right.
And the way the 2 points come together, you might be able to decipher something right there. Because if I'm not mistaken, that's a flat area in there. I'm not sure, but I think it is.
All right, and then one thing you don't have, but maybe you've received it. It was dated July 31st. It's not on my report. Is a letter to Mr. Holman from Ben Lockwood concerning the Chapter 94 report, where it's been considered accepted by PADEP. I don't know if you have a record of that in your file.
That came in just today, and it's in the correspondence folder.
Okay. So one thing of note, they do ask us, DEP strongly encourages the use of this, of us using, in preparing the reports, their own spreadsheet for hydraulic and organic data and graphs for the treatment plant, but we have ours that are very similar, and being that it stated strongly encourages, we're going to continue to use ours, because if we have to redo it, the formats are slightly different, and it would just be more time consuming, more cost to the authority. So unless we're directed otherwise, we're going to continue to do what we've done.
I'm assuming that letter has a lot of similarity to others that you work with too.
Yeah, that they did. So, but anyway, just for your information, it wasn't that we did anything wrong. It's still presented in the format and it's acceptable. But it's just, it's not a requirement. Okay. And that's it, unless you want to discuss anything further on any of those items.
So basically, come the beginning of next month, we should have a new customer.
Yes. I would hope so. Because they're going into
Even with delays, they ought to be able to
August 28th, so that gives us, probably by September 1st. Because they're saying on the 28th, excavate and make final connection at the sewer lateral, scheduled for final inspection. Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, we have a finance structure with them. Dennis, if I'm not mistaken, there is a financial structure that we have with new customers coming on board. Am I right?
Yes.
And I think that was for a whole year before they started
Yes.
this plan.
Yeah,
Am I
I
right?
believe, I may want to pull it out and make sure, but
Okay, I just gonna question that. If you want to clarify that for us at a later date, that would be fine, just to keep us up to date on that. I don't want it to go and become multiple and dormant. You understand what I'm saying? Just make sure that everybody's on board. We don't forget this going in the direction we are, because I'm sure there's gonna be some issues and discussions come the next meeting when it comes online due to the delays that have occurred.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
did we specify, I know we talked about it a couple times, did we specify that we need a chart recorder and a meter at that location?
No, that was gonna come off of how was that? Those pumps were designed to monitor the cycling of them, and those cycles would be the gallonage readings.
Yes, there's a device on those, and I can't think of what the name of it is. It comes from E1 Pump, and what it does is it monitors the run time with the flow rate. It's an average flow rate, but I mean, you were looking with probably a gallon or so, gallon and a half per minute. range, because the head conditions won't differ that significantly. So I can't think of the name of it.
All right, since that comes from E1, can we adapt that to our residential E1 pumps?
You're saying to do it on the residential installations as well?
Where we need to find out whether what's pumping and
I
what's
think you
not.
could. I think you could, because I don't think their systems are pretty standard. On this one, all we're doing, we're using the same pump. It's just, it's their standard pump, it's just a bigger reservoir.
Yeah, do you see where I'm going?
And
What he's getting at
yeah,
also is
yeah.
he's trying to make sure that starting, once this thing happens next month,
Yeah.
that we have a way to monitor the flow,
Exactly, yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Make sure that when you do the as-built closeout, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that we are proficient in understanding how to comprehend that and read that.
Okay,
Because that's gonna be very valuable with us come the next month.
great.
Confirm that what he's got, since that is a,
And I can't think of the name of it. But it is produced by E1. It's integrated into the system by E1, and it would, to my understanding, you could do that on a residential as well if you wanted to install it.
The reason I asked
Yeah.
that is because Mr. Chisholm and I are having a difficult time putting some kind of reading device on one of our
like an
pumps
hour meter,
right
it
now.
proves that it's being cycled.
Yeah,
Done.
yep.
And if that's the case, then we could probably get one of them just to, you know, and have it here and take it up and flip it on
Yeah.
where we have these issues so we know what we have.
The ones we're looking at are not gonna be so much for the flows, other than to
Runtime.
run time to prove that it's running a cycle or usage, is what we're getting at.
I could see where they'd have their advantage for running flows too.
Well,
We could
I
pick some
see
of
it.
our high guest flow customers to see whether they're,
I see a possibility of that, but also could see an overriding head pressure creating a false reading on the smaller ones. That's a possibility I would have to look into.
have to see, where we are.
Yeah.
And here's the shop drawing on it. Had it right in front of me. It's called a Century Advisor. And it says the E1 Century Advisor is a remote monitoring system for E1 grinder pumps, available for new and existing alarm panels, both 2000 series and Extreme series grinder pumps. So,
Unless ours are obsolete in the time frame.
No doubt in my mind, the larger ones
They're 10 years old already.
it's called a Century Advisor.
You might want to write that down, Sam, and see if you.
Sensory or century?
Century.
Okay.
Century,
As
like
in 100 years.
No, Century. SENT, Century.
Okay, sensory.
No,
Okay.
Sentry, it's a guard.
Oh, Sentry.
Century.
Thank you, Sentry.
Century.
Thank you. Now I got it.
Yeah. Century. Yeah,
I see it.
yeah.
Not that it matters.
Maybe we could look at it online and see what they're saying.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of variables. There might even be the ability to look at the aftermarket for it.
Yeah, but those pumps are the same. Okay. Okay. Anything else, or?
Anybody have anything else for the engineer? All right. Now, Randy, I'm gonna ask you if you can hang around here just a little bit.
Yep, not a problem.
Since it's early along here, and I'll do my best to make sure you're out of here by 8 o'clock, just in case something else comes up.
No, that's fine.
All right?
Yep.
Let's go with the operator's report and DMRs.
As usual, the DMRs, I have no problems. If you review them when they come around, if you have questions, as always, feel free. The one thing I make the authority aware of is we have been continuing to have groundwater reports from the Sunshine Hill Water Company. So I'm going to recommend that we flush again, much sooner than expected. As you know, Sam and I flushed probably 2 months ago.
I don't think it was that long.
I don't think it's been that long, but it looks like it's going to be necessary again. To make you aware that we probably will pursue that within the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Is there a particular area right here?
No. It's been both sides of the hill have called, which is obviously situations where it's deposits on the lines that build up and come loose, and if you're right downstream from it, then you get the report. It's not been widespread. Not many people have called. It's been one customer on one side of the hill and one customer on the other side of the hill. There's a possibility that there's been others, but they haven't called me. So
Mostly manganese kind of thing?
I'm thinking Elmer, yes. Brown water. I really thought we had flushed them pretty hard, but apparently it wasn't enough.
Cleared up pretty good when I was there.
Yeah. But we'll have to give it another shot. I think we're probably still in good shape with our water supply to withstand the flushing.
Anything else?
Not tonight.
Anything for the operator? How's the odor control working this summer?
Seems they're doing very well. I have had no complaints. I've just ordered another go of chemical. In fact, I guess it came this morning at 7 o'clock. I went down last night and opened up the building.
You've got it down to a point where it don't seem to take a whole lot, does it?
Try to keep it down to the bare minimum for a number of different reasons. Chemical is expensive, and the process for wasting sludge gets very expensive to go with the chemical because it causes a lot of retention.
Snowball effect.
Yeah. In fact, we were about 80 or 90% way through our sludge removal budget, and we've got a number of months left to go, but you do what you can.
I'll keep that in the back of our minds in regards to coming up for next year's budgeting time, which we're starting to get into.
In that respect, I would give the authority a heads up that we're going to probably be seeing a fairly hefty increase in budget for Cove and King Cora. It's going to be time for us to start to pump out tanks.
Sludge.
Aeration basins, which is going to be a tricky matter. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is something we've never done before. We did it at Cape Cove when we added the new treatment facility. We pumped out the old facility and did some plumbing upgrades and replacements and stuff. King Cora is going to need some of this done over. I mean, it's going to be a matter of good practice to start building this into the budget, maybe at $5,000 to $6,000 a year, until we see exactly what it's going to cost. I don't know what it's going to cost. I think a $5,000 figure is going to be a high figure. Okay.
Do we have is this something that you can do in a, how can I say it, in a day's time cycle? Or is it something that's going to take days to do? And or is it something?
At Cove, we have the ability to switch our flow all in one. At King Cora, we don't. So, and you can't take
I know where you're going with this. Would it be safe to say that, would that be something you could do on the low flow, meaning at nighttime?
I think that's going to be difficult to arrange that with the people that do the work, that kind of work. What I would hope we could do is get a truck there and pump out a section of it.
Mm-hmm.
Take the debris from the bottom, put it in a separate bin, and put our liquid back into that tank. Because you don't want to remove all your process.
And you don't want to kill the bugs.
And so if we could vacuum a tank and have it vacuumed out, and just like the dirt collects in your bag or wherever it would be, the heavy stuff at the bottom, and return your air to your room or your liquid to your tank, that would be the ideal thing. Now that's going to be somewhat expensive, but that's what I anticipate having to do at King Cora and probably at Cove too. I think it's time for us to start budgeting in that for a section at a time per year, maybe. We already have done that at the equalization tanks at both King Cora and Cove. Okay. I think it may be time to move on to, every now and then I test the bottom of the tanks to see how much debris has built up.
Yep, I understand.
Okay. It's not something we need to fuss about too much now, but it'll probably be a new line item thing in next year's budget maybe, or something. I don't know.
That's why I said when words of budgeting, keep it in back. Okay?
I think that's it.
Okay. Field representative.
Reports, there's nothing out of the ordinary. That item number 2 I reported last month. I haven't had any follow-up on that yet. And
Okay.
the 132 Eisenhower reported that one at the same time. Grease and grit chambers have been inspected, and they've cleaned and inspected Cove system, Duncannon and Kincor systems, all the commercial businesses.
Okay, one question I have for you, Sam. I see we have a bill here from IJ Technical. The repairs of the grinder pumps. Is that a quarterly thing? Is that 6 months? Is that a long-term thing?
You'll be getting bills from him now.
I understand that, but I mean, is that, or is that just something that, you remember how we tried to?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons you're going to be getting them from this guy now. We're going to be getting them more frequent.
Weekly,
Than,
as a job is done,
Okay.
is what he
you know
told
what I
me.
mean? As opposed
Okay,
to
okay.
waiting until the end of the
Good.
year like we were getting
Okay,
them.
and this is kind of what happened here?
Yeah,
This is the first
that's
one
right.
to
That's
clean
more
that mess
that's
up.
more catch up than it is anything.
Okay, that's what I was getting at, okay? I was sure it was. We were upset with that issue before because of what it did to us. I won't say it's a sticker shock because we know it's coming, but it's not a proper way of doing business when it comes to that. Okay. I'm assuming that's an affiliation of it?
Yeah, they work hand in hand together.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. The manholes up on Susquehanna Hills, did you ever find out?
No,
Should be on the lower side.
should be up there somewhere, shouldn't it?
You found all of them but one?
Yep.
Huh.
I get the metal detector down. Wait for the.
Everybody's front yard's covering.
We'll find out.
minutes.
Okay.
On my minutes, I wrote June instead of July.
All right.
Minutes. need
Anything
printing.
more for the field rep? Okay, master meter reports.
No, nothing out of the ordinary.
Penn Township Supervisors Report. I think we took care of that earlier. All right, Dennis, you're up.
Most of what I have is collection related. Probably would be helpful if you have your list handy. I can refer to them by the number. Fair amount of activity here. Number 724 and 1142. Well, 724 is both water and sewer. And 1142. Those will be filed either tomorrow or Friday. I have the packages with me to give this to Susan. Either Susan or Karen will run them up to New Bloomfield. So those will be on for the October sale.
1142 just went through a bankruptcy, didn't it? About a couple years ago, a year or so ago?
But they're out. So, and they of course couldn't discharge these claims. So we're free to proceed. Yeah, you're right, but it was completed. Number 103, 907. I'm going to file. I went over these with Karen. I'm going to get the paperwork ready to file those for the October sale as well. And I'll get them in next week. Next Friday is the cutoff for requesting to be on the sale list for October, so I want to get those in for that sale as well.
So you will need 2 checks for those?
Yes, I will. Yeah. Numbers 51, 67, which is the same owner, different properties, 219, and 1841. When I looked at my file, I thought I'd better write a letter and give them a 30-day notice to make sure that we can secure our claim for council fees for the collection effort, since it had been a considerable period of time since I had pursued those. So if they're not cleared up, they'll be scheduled as well, but they won't go in October. Number 43, and Cece just confirmed what I had seen in the mailings to me. That's scheduled for what is called a free and clear tax sale. I don't think the sale has actually been scheduled, but I think it may be held this fall. The claim, the tax balances are significant, and those are a priority over your claim. It's probably unlikely that at a free and clear sale there's going to be bidding sufficient even to pay the taxes. But when I get the date, there's no point in our proceeding separately now, because that's going to be the free and clear tax sales. In other words, whatever is bid, if there's a bid, the high bidder takes it, irrespective of the amounts of taxes and other claims. If it doesn't sell at a free and clear sale, which is pretty unusual. Then it goes into a repository list, and people can actually bid a very minimum amount of money and buy those properties. It's, I don't know, $50 or $100, something like that. I've been advised this property's in pretty poor shape, so I'm not really optimistic that we're gonna do very well on it. What I want to do, though, is wait until, once I get the sale date, confirm the taxes that are owed, and then we'll have a chance to discuss that at a meeting again. And it may be that you'll want me to go to the sale and maybe bid something up to what we feel the value would be, or that you would be willing to purchase it for. Of course, anything you bid on it, to the extent it's not more than the tax balance, would go to the taxable values that you would end up with the property. If somebody's there bidding and goes higher than that, then so be it. But we'll talk about it more. We don't need to make any decisions on it right now. I understand it's in, does anybody know the condition of it?
It's in pretty bad shape.
Which one's that?
43.
43. Is it just, so it's probably just lot value?
It's pretty bad inside too.
Well, it's lot value, less the cost of removing the structure.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Don't know where it is.
It's right at the end of the exit ramp.
Oh, okay.
Blue tarp.
Yeah.
Give it to the fire company and let them practice.
Yeah.
They can't do that anymore.
Yeah, you don't see that much anymore, but we'll talk about that one. It'll be coming up again. Number 1159. That one, of course, is one that's been on our list for a while. The mortgage company did receive relief from the bankruptcy court, so they have the green light now to proceed with their foreclosure sale, despite those folks being in a bankruptcy proceeding.
Well, somebody's living in it.
Yeah, they're probably still, it's not unusual. However, the time period, once they get relief from the stay, a time has to expire or pass before it can actually go to sale. And there weren't enough days to meet that requirement for the October sale. So it's going to go in January, but it seems almost a certainty now that will go at the mortgage company's request in January. I'll keep an eye on it. I don't think there's any point in her incurring any expense.
We are fairly confident that grinder
The
pump
grinder
is
pump
running,
is hooked,
right?
it is hooked up, but they
Yes.
never got rid of their septic tank.
It was running when we were down there to check, down there and checked it out. It was running at that time.
So the January
Now,
sale.
there's a number of cases that have been in bankruptcies, and I want to go over those because I had an opportunity to take a look at some of these dockets to see what's going on. 616, which might be, that's also a sewer. That's water and sewer. It's 89 on the sewer. We're at a point now in the bankruptcy proceeding where I can proceed with further collection efforts. So I'm going to start with a letter to them because I hadn't done that. We hadn't gotten that far before they actually filed their petition. So we'll be able to move on that one, despite the bankruptcy, because it's the discharge is over. It was a Chapter 7.
His bills are coming back because they're saying there is no such person and no forwarding address, and they don't know where he is, so.
Oh, well, so be it. I'm going to go ahead and
Yeah.
move. 640. That's probably both.
Mm-hmm. 1 and 9.
Yeah, sewer and water. The mortgage company on that property also just in late June got relief from the bankruptcy court to proceed with their foreclosure. I'm going to contact the mortgage company and confirm that they're actually going to be scheduling a sale of that. If they aren't, then I can do something. I'd have to see whether we would have to get relief from the state to proceed. So I'm hoping they will. So that one is at least, it looks like we're gonna be moving ahead with some ability to collect that one. 726, which is both as well, 726, 314. We can proceed there. He's in a proceeding, but it was converted to a Chapter 7 and a discharge, so we can proceed with that. I'll write to them, to the owners and their lender. The lender might be interested in just bringing it current, because they're essentially going to end up stuck with it anyway. Number 1125 is still in a Chapter 13 plan. They're not completed with their plan, so we're still on a hold with that one. And 800 and 163, which is of course a big one. I was in touch again with the bankruptcy attorney, who's going to advise them that they have to pay their current bills, or they're going to risk having their plan rejected by the bankruptcy court. In September, I believe it's in September, I have to get the date, the plan will be coming up for confirmation in the bankruptcy court at a hearing. The trustee has actually objected to the plan being confirmed because he doesn't believe that the plan is adequate, that they're going to be able to meet the financial requirements of the plan. So that one's still in a state of flux. The mortgage company on that, who brought it current before when we had a big delinquency, they're still evaluating their options. So I'll keep a look at that, and I'll have a further report.
165 is also part of that.
Yes, it is.
Do we have any, did you mention anything about 949 and 160? I see the 160.
949 that's coming up. I have a hearing scheduled in August with Judge Muma on 949 that hopefully is going to break some of these log jams with all the petitions that are outstanding.
Yeah.
So that's we can't do anything till Judge Muma acts. And what's the other one?
1160. Seems the gap is starting to slip.
That I'm going to proceed to. I forgot to mention that one. Yes, that's slipping, and it's also on the other list.
Okay.
Yeah, I see no reason not to move ahead with it, so I will. I did write them, so they got
Oh,
their
that's just
30-day letter.
This is a total amount of that. This is
All
just
right,
the
I'm
one
going to
time.
say we don't need Randy anymore. Anybody?
Well, thank you.
I'll get you out of here.
All right, thanks.
And we'll keep moving on here with Dennis.
Under my, I see there's a property in the agenda under my name.
Yes.
Which one? I'm not sure what that is.
Elmer, Jim?
Which one?
43.
43 items.
Where's,
Is it one of these delinquent ones?
I'm not sure.
I think that's the one that's in the correspondence folder. The gentleman from Wells Fargo Bank, maybe, who said he's not allowed in the house, and so he's not paying.
That's the broken pipe, I think,
Is
Sam.
that the old pipe?
Yeah,
pipe?
that's
That's the one in the
Doc
corner.
Fouts' dad's old house.
Yeah.
Is it vacant right now?
Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's, but he's not allowed in, he said.
Is that something that I've been looking at, or is this a new matter?
We got in.
I don't
Don't
think
advise
so. Well, yeah, this is Mr. Dillon, his name's not on here right now.
That's what's going on. Yeah.
Thank you.
Let me look into that. That something doesn't make sense.
I was there one day when there was a
Oh, there is no deal.
crew there, or group, or two guys cleaning up the house, cleaning out the house some.
Oh.
I stopped and spoke with them. They were just hired to come in and buy the, I'm assuming the mortgage holder, and do some preliminary reporting, I think, maybe on what's going to be needed. I inquired about the fact that we needed possibly to get in, put our pinger on the line, and then maybe we can follow it down and find our valve. That's the one out of all of them that we don't know where the shutoff valve is. Because when Sam tried to ping it, we didn't know at the time, but it was going through a plastic housing. So they suggested I
Yeah, it goes
get the
in.
number off the door
And these are the
that
checks.
faces up the hill,
And here's your correspondence
and
folder.
contact those people, and maybe they would let us go in to do that job.
For everybody with that.
So if the authority wants to see that happen, we could try to pursue that.
Yeah, I'd have to see, I mean, the only way the mortgage company could tell them they can't access their house is if they acquired it at a sale and are now the owner.
Well, it
and
says
have-
that they are the new
And
owner.
have
That's what
evicted
Karen's
them,
saying
in
here.
which case, the mortgage company's gonna have to start paying you, and they own the property.
And he requested that the Wells Fargo send us a key.
Okay. Well, I'll check into that.
There was no delinquency, there was a big delinquency, but he gave us his credit card number, and every month he said, please take X amount of money out, and he got himself caught up.
Okay, so it's.
So at the
it's-
moment, I think he's just about, he might owe 60 and 55. I mean, he's current, so that's why he's not in your radar.
Okay, well, I would just start, if we get the address information, start billing Wells Fargo.
Yeah,
including
she's
for-
got an address
including for
here,
any
so that's,
delinquency. Yep.
I'm gonna start sending the bills to them.
I think that's all I had on those.
Hey, before we go off of these, I got a question. I know I was big on starting just by identifying them by the numbers a couple years ago. The more I'm thinking about this, the more I'm thinking, what is the right to privacy on this? I know there's been a couple articles in the news a couple months ago regarding some municipalities that are publishing the delinquent accounts.
Yes.
What is these people's right to privacy on that? I mean, can we use their names in open meeting?
In my opinion, you can, yeah.
Well, then,
In my
We
opinion,
do, but
you
we've done it
You've
as a
been
courtesy,
discreet.
so to speak.
Yeah, you've tried to be
I mean,
discreet about it.
We've opened up, spoke, yes, and as far as I know, there is nothing to say that we can't do that.
I don't think so.
There's no reason why we can't advertise them either, from what I understand.
We do have a request every month for this list, and it is given out under the Right to Know Act.
Dude, who's requesting?
Stanley Municipal.
Yeah, I think you've just done that as a, what to call it?
It's a courtesy.
Yeah. But no, you can use names if you want to.
And then I'm
It's
going to suggest here from now on that we dispense using the numbers, and whenever we're talking about these folks, we use their names.
I'm assuming those names then would be on the audio that is put on the site and everything for everybody to hear.
Yes,
correct?
that's correct. Be on YouTube, just part of the minutes. They're part of the recording.
Okay.
Maybe an incentive to help us get some of this money back.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get some of the $101,000 so.
$101,000 is an awful lot of money.
And it's not going backwards.
No, it doesn't.
Problem is, there's some of the places we have no ability to go there due to the legal system protecting them.
Yeah, you're probably looking at the, well, a third of it, right, with one customer is protected.
I mean, we're looking at probably 40-50% of it.
Yeah, bet you are, I bet you're at
At least
least 40.
40% of it's protected by the legal system at the present moment. I mean,
Well, and then you've got a couple in here that are probably just never, I mean, number 1152. That's almost just a write-off, and that's $4,300. I don't know how you have any chance to get any money from that.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
okay.
Dennis, did you mention anything about 1150? Joe Stein, actually.
You know, I think I talked to Karen about that, and there was enough, in her view, enough effort to get payments coming in on a regular basis, not to see it right now. I'll double check though. I'm pretty sure that's the one. We did discuss it. We went over all of them.
I didn't know if I had missed that.
Air-driven power.
The same with the 1024, that Zandy property. That's one where the new tenant is doesn't want to lose so they're actually essentially paying his bill.
He's paying it, and the sad part is the penalty is eating up his $60 a month. Because we take out the fees, and he was agreeable to that. He's got some kind of deal with Mr. Zandia, but I think there are times when we ought to just not charge penalties.
I will
for some
double check
cases.
though, and make sure that other one is remembered.
Thank you.
Well, if you're not going to serve penalties on one, you probably not serve them on anybody.
Well, you got a point. I can see a distinction, but it would be hard to justify them.
I mean, I don't see a reason why we couldn't do that.
Okay. Anything else for the solicitor? Okay, treasurer's report.
Okay. Your total bills were $100,340 this month. Also in the folder are 2 checks that the solicitor would like for us to take up for Mr. Caldwell and Mr. Crater. And since he also has 2 more that are coming up, those are Caldwell and Crater. I will get those checks typed up for him this week. So that would be an additional $3,000. But those 4 checks will appear next month because I had already closed this before I got his request today to rate 2. So, the Duncannon Borough, the $30,000 one is for the stack that's in this big clip for, I guess, the repairs to the sewer treatment plant. Ones that you would talk about at JOAC.
Yes. They have done some repairs on the big tanks, the aerators and stuff that are in them, and they have to spend some money. I can agree with.
Yeah.
So
this is a big month.
Mm-hmm.
I added up the past 7 months and took a total average, and your average monthly bills are $71,000. Your average income is about 55, 56.
Keep spending more than that.
Anyway, those are the bills. If you have any questions about any of them, I can answer them, but the grinder pump repair, I think there were a number of them that just were sitting. I think they go and change them, and then they keep them, and he just repaired those.
And that's not an issue, but it needs to be done on a quarterly basis.
Yes.
Not
And I
9
think
months at a time or 12 months at a time.
Jody and I have been in contact, and he, in fact, the last one he did, he had one of the newest ones. He sent it to me within a day.
Good.
So,
I mean, I don't have a problem monthly,
yeah.
every quarter or something like that, but the idea is to not, because what happens is at the end of the year, if they miss us in December, we have no idea how to create a structured budget cost I mean, it just makes it so radical for us to budget.
Well, it's the same way with your Duncannon Borough, your O&M charges.
Yep.
That's really, I mean, those are just completely out of line this year.
And they're probably gonna stay, they're gonna have some cost to them now, because that building is being maintained till. Sooner or later, the money that was going towards debt reduction is pretty well all gonna get eaten up on maintenance costs all the way across the board, the way I'm starting to see it. I mean, it's a slow progressive direction, but that's the direction we're heading with. It's gonna vanish. I mean, we thought that that was good. It was advantageous for a couple of years here to do the whole thing's done, but it's gonna start getting eaten up. And it is getting dwindling fast, so. All right,
Need a motion to pay the bills?
yep,
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
been regularly moved and seconded. All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I would like to see the other two signatures be able to sign the checks tonight. I'm in a little bit of a handicapped way this evening.
That would be you, Elmer. Start going. Pass them over here when you're done.
He can get your stamper.
Nate, in the best of shape. It happened about 5 hours ago.
No. Robin.
No, not yet. It's going to. It's a little tender, you know, try to keep it. All right.
You ready for the financial report?
Yep, let's
I'm
go.
gonna go.
Not really.
You all have a good evening.
You too, Ann.
Okay.
Take care,
Thank
Ed.
you.
Lunch tomorrow?
Okay.
If the meeting's over early, should I call you?
I'm going somewhere in Dirty Pier.
Well, that's just what I was gonna say. I'll find you. Okay. If you look on the back page, you have to your name right now $333. $333,000. Okay? Now, you can look at it in two ways. You have either that much in operating expenses, or our spreadsheet shows that it's all in capital reserve. Because over the years, you've been putting money into capital reserve, but this year, so far, I've had to take out at least $50,000 from capital reserve to pay your bills. So right now, you have $333,000. If you go halfway down and look over on the right, under the earmarked, you've got Municipal, Stone Mill, Mike Ward, and Curlin. Those escrow accounts total $6,729. You can't touch that money. If you look above those two, you've got $100,000 that you set aside for Market Street, and that's, I seem to think that that is going to be a little high, that the bill's not going to be quite that much.
You're right, yeah.
What
So-
is that gonna be? I forget.
I think it's gonna be about 80, 85 if I'm not mistaken.
All right, so
That's the
you,
last bill from that, right?
Yeah,
Should be the last one. I haven't been up through town for a while. Are they done?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they're finished.
Good.
Yeah, they're finished.
They even made it to the intersection up there?
Yep.
Good. Good.
So we spent how much on that fine?
On that,
Total,
I don't know that. I'd have to add them all up.
you know, how much
Okay.
we donated to their line?
After we-
Or shared line, I mean.
After we get this one in, I'll let you know how much
All
we
right.
paid for them over the years.
I mean, most of the other ones you were probably looking at, just say you averaged,
It was 50, 30 for one, I think.
just say you averaged 60. 60 or 70, just go 70, because we had a couple high, we had one up to over 100 there a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's go 70, and we had what, 5 cycles through that?
Over 300,000.
I'm gonna say, we probably got 250 in that, 200 to 300, I would imagine.
So that's 250,000 we won't have.
And I think we figured I think the total project, what everybody evaluated on that, we were shooting for 750 on that.
Yeah.
With Duncannon being involved in that, which is what
You
we
mean the
got paid.
for the total?
Yeah, 1/3, 2/3.
What's both of us?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, you're looking at, I think we were figuring roughly 750 when we wanted to do the whole thing. Does that seem about right, Sam?
Somewhere in that area.
Because when we first did the first couple, we said we were gonna do the whole line, and it was 500, and we decided to break it out a little longer. I think it took a little longer to it, so.
So there'll be a little bit of relief there.
All
There'll
right.
be relief
So
on that.
So
Yes.
you'll have 15,000 from that.
Approximately.
You've got 35,000 that you had put aside for Kincora, and you have 78,000 set aside for the water company.
What's left of that? We have
That-
more earmarked.
That's all, yep, that's all that's left is 78,000.
We paid for all the design work.
Everything is done.
Well done.
All the bills are paid so far.
You use it next year.
We have a plan, we just got to figure out how to build it.
What
How
I'm,
to pay for it.
what I'm getting at is you had $333,000. If you subtract out the escrow, if you subtract out, and I put 100,000 for Market Street, that gives you 226,372, and we're going to add another 15 because, so that's 240. All right, you have $240,000. That's it. Now you can pay your bills with it, and if you have another $100,000 month, with only $55,000 coming in, you're going to.
Can we do?
It's not going to last you too many months. This is your operating expense money. I don't know. I don't know what's happened in these past few months. Every month we sit here and look at this, and it's just getting worse.
Susan, there's been a lot of maintenance on these systems. You gotta realize, everything is over 20 years old.
Yes.
We've all sat down in JOAC meetings, we've all agreed to fix stuff.
Yeah.
And we, as an authority, have been doing our complexes and been trying to upgrade stuff at marginal costs,
Right.
okay?
I know that.
The only one we're frustrated with is Sunshine Hill. It's the one we can't conquer that one.
And I don't see how you can afford to make any payments.
I agree.
Okay. That's the only point I have to make tonight.
Frustration-wise, I mean, to make it pay for itself is cost prohibitive. Okay.
Are we authorized to pay the bills yet?
Yeah, no.
No, I didn't think so.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Oh, we were?
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we approved them, so go ahead.
Now, we gotta approve this. If everybody's in agreement with this, that's where we're getting to now. And I appreciate your concerns here, Susan. I see where you're at here. An interesting thing's gonna be is as we're putting this budget together for next year, this is gonna be a very interesting thing. And we're gonna have
To say the least.
a decision to make probably come January.
An assistant treasurer, who, I think you have one of those. I think that person's now in charge of the budget.
That's you.
No, I think that's, oh, was that you?
That is me.
Okay, well, good. Anyway,
I mean, everything that we fought for a while back, it's expenses are going up, things are happening. I mean,
you did a very nice thing with reducing your rates. That was really nice,
in the
but
short
you know
term,
what?
it was possible, it was available,
But that continues every year, and so,
but there's nothing to say that we can't go the other way if we see it's necessary,
yes.
okay?
yes.
Not that we're a proponent of that, but we're gonna do it as a last resort,
Mhm.
okay? Like I said, things have changed. You gotta turn around and change things around.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the savings that we had off of the debt reduction from the treatment plant, which was a substantial amount of money there for a couple of years.
And we were putting that in the capital reserve, and then this year we had to stop because we needed it for expenses.
Don't forget, the capital reserves, we spent,
Oh, I had owed it.
we spent in Sunshine Hill a substantial amount, plus we spent Market Street, okay? We're still spending.
Yeah, I had written that down for you for a couple meetings ago.
Yes.
We put a number of hundreds of thousands of dollars into
I mean, if
things.
we stopped doing capital improvements, then things would look differently. But we're looking proactive instead of going out and having to borrow money to fix something up. We're trying to repair it as it goes, so we don't have higher rates and loan structures. We can't afford it. We don't want that.
Motion to accept the financial report subject to audit.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay. Executive Secretary's report. Guess we don't have one. JOAC meeting, August 10th, 6:30, Duncan Borough Building.
Yep.
You gonna be
I'll
around?
be there.
All right. I'm gonna do my best to be there because I'm sure it's gonna be an approval thing, but I'm in the process of trying to.
Whatever. Whatever.
So, all right. Incoming, outgoing correspondence, everybody looked at them, periodical circulators, they're down at the end, not many of them.
No, we're starting to cancel them.
Yes. Old business, 11:09.
That was the reason I was asking Randy about
Yes.
the Sentry Advisor.
Okay. I'm thinking that there might be people interested in hearing the full status of that, am I right?
And before you go any further, I may not be there.
Okay, I'll be there.
I may not be there.
I'll be there.
I may be on my way back from New York.
Okay, that's fine. That's what I was asking, that's why I looked at you, because you were
Yeah.
talking earlier, so that's fine, I'll be there. I just wanna make sure.
If I can
we-
make it, I'll call.
I just wanna make sure we have a quorum there, because we're probably gonna have to approve a contract
Our last
for
payment.
our last payment on the digging, okay? That's what I'm worried about. I don't wanna see that get tabled because, okay?
This guy did a good job this time.
I think they've done good work.
Yeah.
before.
I think it was one of the better projects that we had up there.
Yeah, it is.
For as many laterals as that they had, it went very well, you know?
Done in a timely manner too.
Mhm.
I mean, I thought it was a little longer time frame wise, but they had the streets shut up every night, they opened back up, so there was a little bit of, they lost the days there. They did not lose just hours, they lost days till they got the project done doing that.
Yep.
But it kept the community, so it's a valuable thing too. Okay? You're just,
Is that the shed? That's the shed.
yes, that's.
What is this Sentry thing? What's that?
I'm sorry?
That Sentry?
That's, remember we were looking at something to monitor the run time on that pump?
Oh, okay, all right.
No,
No. They're not here.
they're not here. They haven't been,
No complaints
no
that I
complaints
know
from
of
them.
about odor or anything.
I'm thinking since they hooked up, the tank ain't been,
You having any problems with odor down there?
That's, they're above that.
no, they're above that.
Yeah, they wouldn't notice that.
Oh, that's right, yeah, you're right, you're right. They're your neighbor,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they haven't attended for a long time.
I actually saw them out about a month and a half ago and asked them about it. And
They're not happy yet, but they're not,
right, nothing new.
they're not, yeah. Okay. I think they deserve to be kept up to date with where we're at with this, because, you know, and let them know that we are still pursuing whatever options we have. Whether they come to the meeting or not, we have the ability to communicate with them, and if you see them, tell them, feel free to call up here instead, you know.
We talk about it every month.
That's
And
right.
I think something is gonna break with us. It's just,
Okay, number 2, Perry County Beer Connection. I think we need to send another letter. We ain't getting nothing back from them.
Well, we did, the only thing we got was remember the township has to send them. And they sent it by certified mail and it was picked up. That's what Helen says in here.
Okay. Well, I'm assuming the wheels of progress, we ought to keep that, and after 2 to 3 months, we ought to readdress it, because I'm not a proponent of giving a big corporation leeway, but I'm sure the wheels of progress, the size of what they are not.
Well, could we send them a letter and ask for their timetable?
We can do that. That would be nice.
It's just to let them know that, keep it on their burner, same as it's on ours.
Yep.
I think they got 180, I think it's 180 days is the
180
standard.
days. It's 180 days.
But,
The
okay.
CEO just took a train ride through there a couple weeks ago.
Dang it, we missed it.
He was sitting in the back of the theater car waiting.
All right, new business, news articles due by the 13th. Well,
That'll give us some time to
that's not much, but
give them an update on the water.
yeah,
Yeah.
we could,
That's about the only thing we have to report.
well, Market Street upgrade.
Okay,
Okay, we got the Market Street upgrade.
all right. Yep,
That's a very important one. It's a completed project. From
Yes.
one end of Market Street or from,
so we'll thank them for their patience and all that,
Mhm.
and how important that was to us.
and hopefully it aids in the performance of the treatment plant, the I&I and everything else.
How many other shared lines are left? Is there? How many?
Yeah, there is some.
There's
Oh,
a
yeah.
couple.
Boy, you're fast.
How many?
Well, the one coming up the little alley street there, from the ball field,
Okay.
okay, that goes across the creek, goes all the way over and up through the meadow, and then goes underneath 1115 and comes back across.
Oh, my God.
Okay, that's why we put the
That's
jumper
gonna
line
be a
across.
bear when you start working in that one.
That's
That-
why-
That one's leaking. That one's.
Is it
that-
leaking?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Now, that's the one we put the jumper line in at the bridge to reduce some of that flow rate there.
Yeah.
But the next main line for us would be from the ball field up to the manhole market to increase capacity.
It's only a short run now.
It's a short line,
It's a real short run, but it's deep.
Okay.
but if you do that, you might as well go straight through the manhole and put it outside the other side of the manhole, and then when everybody decides to tie in, if they decide to improve across the river, you improve it. Okay?
But there's no plans right now to do anything.
No, but the plan would be is if we improve going across the new bridge and hook the lower end in
Yeah.
to gain more capacity up on the hill,
Yeah.
business campus and everything else, we'd have to improve that to that manhole
Oh, okay.
because we have limited capacity to that point. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is a long-term scheduled, you know what I'm saying? It's stuff to plan ahead for. It's budgeted and worked into it, you know? Not stuff that needs to be done, but stuff that needs to be looked ahead to make it be done. I mean, and it opens up capacity once we hook that bridge crossing up. That changes the whole capacity flow dramatically. Because that's a forced line. That'd be a forced line all the way from McGuire's Ford all the way to that manhole in Market Street on Duncannon side of the bridge. Right?
Forced main all the way from Tubby's up.
Right. But the wet well it pumps from that is at McGuire's.
They all pump together. They piggyback.
They all tie into the
Yeah,
one
they
main?
don't pump, I used to think that they pump from one to the other, but they don't.
Oh, they don't?
No.
That's what I thought. I thought everything went to that one and that was the main wet well and everything got
Well,
pumped.
so did I, but it's, from what I'm understanding, it's not.
Each one of them has a flow meter in them, man?
Nope.
Just
Each
one
one
for
of
the
them-
lower end of
Just the
Duncannon?
one on the lower end down
Huh. Well, something new I learned tonight. Okay.
I'm pretty sure of that.
That's new to me. Okay. So those two things, Susan, would be Sunshine Hill and Market Street. If anybody else thinks of anything else that needs to be added to that, other thing is common courtesy of what you put down the drains. You know, that's a constant reminder. We should be putting that in every time frame, pretty much. So, you know, I don't know if we want to make any statements in regards to upon new ownership of anything, you become the owner of the grinder pumps. That might be something else to
Yep.
put in there.
That's it.
Okay. Just stuff to keep people's minds knowledgeable of all this stuff. Okay. Anything that pertains to that grinder pump package that we got. You know, responsibilities if it fails, malfunctions, blah 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 blah. The new rules that we've implemented and changed, we will. Okay. I think that's going to be a good bit for a little part of the newsletter. I think that'd be fair, don't you think?
That was one if a grinder pump fails and it's it's because of neglect on the part of the people, then it becomes theirs.
Or upon the sale of it and a new
Right.
ownership.
Right.
It
I
becomes
didn't-
theirs by default.
Right, I knew
Okay.
that part, and I knew it had something to do with the neglect, but I wasn't sure whether they got a warning the first time or it's just boom. Okay,
It's the habitual repairs that we're trying to get away from,
yes.
okay? The ones that have no problems with them, we could be stuck with them for a long time, not to
Take
be,
forever.
yeah. So,
And there are some out there.
okay, number 2, Lincoln Street and Muhlenberg lot. What,
Hunter
business.
McGuire wants to develop that lot. You know which lot we're talking about.
yep, I do.
He wants to put a garage, corner of Lincoln and Muhlenberg. Okay, he wants to put a garage with an apartment up above it. Oh, Sam, tell him. Because you know about it, and more than I do.
And the connections are on Lincoln Street.
No.
No, there's some, you can go either way on that with the exception of the water. The water stops up across the street from the church
Yes.
at Hodo's. That's where it stops. If
It
he-
does not come to his property
It
line.
does not come to his property line. Now, we have already said, if it does not come to the property line, it's the property owner's responsibility to put that line in, and we have enforced that by the new house that was up on Jefferson Street, your neighborhood.
Yep.
All right, so we can supply him water. However, it will be at his expense to get to us. We can supply him sewer, either by going out to Muhlenberg Avenue and tying on there to go in that straight line. Whether he's got the elevations or not, I don't know. Now, I spoke with, actually, the Duncannon president called me, and he said, "What do you know about this?" And I said, "No, absolutely nothing about it," whenever he called. So he's the one that brought me up to speed on what's happening here. He said, as far as Duncannon is concerned, Penn Township Municipal Authority holds the right of first refusal. In other words, if we say we're going to do them water and we're going to do them sewer, then fine and dandy. However, Duncannon Borough can and would supply that same services if we ought not. The electrical, he's not too sure about that. Doesn't have anything to do with us anyway, so I'm not going to go there.
Question I have, the existing houses up along Lincoln Street, where do they hook up to now?
They all hook on Lincoln Street.
So they hook into Duncannon.
Except for Mr. Keeney, because he's coming across into Muhlenberg.
Right.
Because we have a sewer line there.
Right.
There are no sewer lines down the middle of the
Which is
hill.
directly across the street from this lot.
Right, right,
Okay?
so,
And that's what I was getting at here, that's why I was questioning
It's
it.
Penn
But
Town-
all the other Lincoln Street addresses are hooked into Lincoln Street.
Yes, yes, and while we're talking about this, before we go off this subject, I want to tell you about some of the other information that we found during our researching this, okay? Go ahead, your questions.
So we have the ability, if we wish, to give them water, he would be the end of the line main.
He would be the end of the line main, but it would be his responsibility to extend that line.
Mr. Keeney gets off of Duncannon,
Mr. Keeney gets from
and all the other Lincoln Street places get off of Duncannon.
water, yes. Yes.
Okay?
and didn't you say it was a 3/4-inch copper line?
It's a 3/4-inch K line
Mhm.
coming down there.
And he'd have to go through their, or
There's a
Hodo's
driveway
driveway?
you'd have to go around, you can stay in Penn Township's road right away to come down there, so there's no right of way issues with it. All we do is get permission from the people next door. And, but he's gotta go under Hodos's driveway. That'd be his responsibility. If he's gonna cut it, or if he's gonna bore under it, or what he's gonna do.
Could he say, I don't want Penn Township, it's gonna be cheaper for me to tie on to Lincoln Street?
Depends whether we wanna give him that opportunity.
he had told Karen that he would prefer to deal with us. Now, the
There's no
sewer
problem
is
with
there, the sewer is there.
Yeah.
And it's a Penn Township property, and the sewer's going right past.
I'm not sure he has the elevation for the sewer.
Okay, oh,
That's a pretty good unless he fills in and elevates it.
Okay.
Okay, that's a pretty good hole. Don't forget, that's all been dug out and excavated at one time.
Yeah, you're right. I know it drops down
Okay?
in. That's a
It's
hole
level
there.
and flat in there. It's not a normal lot that's built in and everything else. It's below the road.
Yeah.
So you're already 4 to 5 feet. For another 4 or 5 feet, you need to, plus slope in there, you're looking at 10, 12 feet. Depends on where you're going on the road. Okay? You're down at least 8 feet. I don't
Yeah.
see I see an 8-foot depth tie-in, and you have to find out what the depth of that manhole
I don't
is
know
out
what
there.
it is out there, you'd have to really, we'd
You'd have to
go
look
up
at
and
the charts.
Look at the charts and see what we have.
And
Yeah.
we can do that. We have the ability to do that. And our as-built should explain all that with an approximate idea. But that would be an inline tap, and then we would have to come into a protocol of cutting into that line and putting a T in it. And that's a pretty,
Also at his responsibility.
and that's a pretty large sized main.
That's 8 inch down there. Yep. Either way, he's gonna have to cut, because there's no lateral off of Lincoln Street.
That's right.
Either way, he's gotta put a tap in on it. Either he taps our line, or he has to tap the Lincoln Street line.
I mean, there's a good possibility he's gonna end up putting a pump in for us.
Yeah.
Very good possibility. I mean, he's probably got 50% or better chance of that happening. That's just by the little bit I'm picturing in my mind that I'm seeing.
Right.
I might be wrong with that. That's worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we do that, then how do you address that? Because we've never put a
Low pressure into a
gravity
gravity.
flow system. Bring it up on a 45, come across, tie in, and let it fall in.
I don't know.
Put a saddle on it.
There's one up here at, we can look out here. We did do that. There's one out here at, excuse me, Bowman's.
After the fact,
That was during the project.
during the project. So there was taps and stuff cut into the line. Do we need to cut into the line, or can we put a saddle on? Do we have an ordinance that
We
says we have to?
recommend no saddles.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to clarify that. I think
Now, I don't know, that's no saddles for gravity. Does that still mean no saddles for low pressure? I don't know.
okay, that might be something we want to look into too, to make sure we're prepared for the questions. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Mhm.
I don't see it being an issue. It can be resolved real easily.
Well, he was ready to pay for the connection.
But that 8-inch line is gonna have a lot of flow in it. Coming down that hill.
Not really. Not
Even
really.
if it's a little bit, it's still gonna be flow, Stanley. It's gonna move,
Oh, yeah, it'll be pulling out. Yeah, it's only coming out of that.
because there's slope on that. But, okay.
But there's not that many houses on that one at all.
That's-
Have we been approached by him?
Yes,
Yes.
he came in, he came in, he was ready to get the connection permit. Helen was the one that said, who does he connect to?
He's chomping at the bit, ready to go.
The borough manager said that it's hers. The borough council said it's up to us.
Okay, I think we ought to go out and talk to him, explain to him where the elevations are, what he has. I think he needs to understand what he's looking at before we go any further, because to go out here and just start spending money, you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
I'm not, I hate to see somebody go out here and figure they're just gonna start doing things and then not realize the cost of what it's gonna be to do it.
Can we give him the field representative's phone number?
That's up to the field representative.
Can we give him your phone number?
Sure.
If Sam wishes to catch up with me in regards to talking about it a little bit, I can go along with you, okay?
That line drains half of Princeton, Jim's side. And then,
I mean, there's no question about the capacity in the line.
3, 4, 5.
No, it's an 8-inch line, there's plenty of room.
Yeah, there's plenty of room. It's just
Yeah.
a matter of the depth, the elevation, and everything else in there, you know? And you could probably get a pretty good idea just by looking at Lou's and asked Lou a little bit how deep he was when they came across.
But Lou sits up.
Lou's elevated, he's on the other, that's what I'm saying, this whole thing's dug down, I mean,
Yeah.
this thing's
Okay,
okay.
yeah.
I don't know if he has any intentions of filling it. I mean, there's variables all over the place for this thing, but due to the depth, he's liable to end up putting a grinder pump in no matter what. Even for Duncannon, the way it's dug out there, he's liable to end up having to put a grinder pump in.
I don't think so. Tucks it back in there. I think you're going across Lincoln Street. If you come right out on Lincoln Street, you could probably get your fall there.
If it's not too deep.
I don't know where Lincoln Street is.
Mike paid pop.
I have no idea what the depth of that line is there, but,
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Now, all right, before you change the subject, yeah.
And what I'm thinking too, the water line, if it comes down in there,
Yeah.
probably ought to have a T in it with a blow-off line to flush that line
Oh, yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Before it goes into his house.
Yeah, we'd ask that. Yeah. All right, now, what we found, what Karen found, and I don't know how this happened in 1996, Dennis, you may be able to help us. We found, or I shouldn't say we, she found a decision from, I guess it was PUC,
Mm-hmm.
whenever Duncannon and Penn Township had the squabble over billing rights to Lincoln Street and Duncannon American Legion and areas like that. And this building and the others. What we discovered in 1996 was they decided, the decision was made to grant Duncannon Borough 3 units of the Daimler Trailer Park on Lincoln Street, plus all of Lincoln Street. This building, and one on Center Street, I think it was called.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. I don't understand why Center Street was even involved in that, because that's
Center
all,
Street takes you up to.
that's all Duncannon now. That's I don't even understand why that was involved. But
Wait, Center Street take you up to the trailer park?
No, Center Street's right
Center
here.
Street's right
Oh,
here.
okay, I'm sorry, yeah, okay.
All right, it's all Duncannon Borough anyway, so I don't understand why that was put in there, but that's neither here nor there. But what we did find out in 1996, the American Legion post was granted to us,
Along with this building.
along with this building.
What happened then? There was an amendment to
See.
the municipal agreement,
Now,
okay, which
now,
separated those out and allocated them
No.
as you just described. Apparently, for whatever reason, the VFW's never actually been, building's
Legion.
never been transferred.
Neither has this building.
Oh, I thought this building was.
No, the Penn Township Board of Supervisors pays sewer rental to us, but it's for this township shed. It's not for this building.
Oh, okay, then, I
Alright.
misunderstood. what
Now,
it was. But what I don't
Karen
understand.
did call PUC,
Okay.
and she was on the phone with them, and she was supposed to get down there and pick up some other documents. I'm not privileged to them, I haven't seen those. I don't know what it is. She asked for any decisions after that 1996 decision that would indicate that there was a reversal there of some way.
And there
Yeah,
was, and she didn't.
Oh, there was a
we-
reversal.
We weren't going to bring this up tonight because she did not make it down because of the traffic jam
Okay.
that was going on. She is going to go down there, it went to the Supreme Court, and things were reversed. So,
You know what?
Yeah, but
You know what?
yeah,
If that's the
this-
case, then that would have helped out. Tell me that, and we wouldn't have messed around with the last 15 minutes.
well, that's why,
But I'm not so sure because the intermunicipal agreement itself was amended to provide
All
what you
right, that-
described. So the question in my mind is, what happened when we redid the intermunicipal agreement? Remember, a few years ago, did we? I
No,
don't know how
no.
we addressed that. If
this,
we did, I don't
this
even
is through the
remember.
PUC, and it went the whole way to the
Oh, I know
Supreme
it
Court.
did.
Okay,
Yep.
so let's worry about, once she gets the paperwork about it, we
Yeah,
can
let's
put that
take a
on
look
and
at
discuss it for the next meeting, okay? Sounds like it, we found stuff, it went one way, went this way, went that way, and now it sounds like it's gonna go back to the way it is now, possibly, which
And that's
don't
what
make
I-
any difference, because it don't make no difference.
Yeah.
No, that's right. And that's what I tried to explain to Karen whenever she found that. I knew there had to be something, knowing the disposition of that,
Yeah.
of the chairman of the municipal authority at that time, I could not believe that
It was left, yeah,
Right.
yes.
Yeah, it would be pretty unlikely.
And the PUC said, well, you should have that. And she said, well, if I had it, I wouldn't be calling you.
That's probably, well,
You know, they were very upset that we didn't have it since we are, you know, part of it.
Well, forget about what I just said.
We'll figure
Okay.
it out.
And I'm sorry, Sam, I
if it
just
needs to
said
be
she.
addressed, we address it next meeting, okay?
Well, but it may relate to some degree to this number too, because, you know, if Duncannon saying, hey, if you want to serve sewer to this property, go ahead.
Yeah, right, it might,
Yeah, so
yes.
we really should try to tie those things up and.
That's true.
But we'll see where this is all at
Okay.
here too. But it's just like Lou across the street, he's hooked into us.
Great.
But
Now he
that's
gets
because
water off of Duncannon.
there's a sewer line that's coming right down beside him. None
Yes.
of the other places on Lincoln Street have that.
The way this is laid out, there's a reason, and hey, it may be impractical for him to do it to us, tying into the line,
Mhm.
okay?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we're gonna force, I don't know, we still gotta talk this out, but, you know?
It's not the end of the world.
No, it's the biggest thing is,
And I'm looking at it, it's whatever's the most economical
Sure.
for the individual who
Yeah,
owns the property.
absolutely.
You know, no matter whether it comes to us or whether it comes to Duncannon, I'd love to see it come to us because we need, you know, but whichever way it's going to
we
work
still give
out.
Duncannon money anyhow, sooner or later.
Yeah, it's gonna work out anyway.
We're just the middleman.
Yeah.
All right,
Brian would like some a notification on what just happened.
I can't, my hearing is so
All right,
bad.
I'll tell you later.
Yeah, let me, and I'll buy you a beer for making you mad.
all right, 3940 Valley Street.
All right, this is Mr. Kirknase.
No.
The lady who's been in there paying it has had a fight with Mr. Nace. And so now she's confessing that indeed he has been living in 39. She's moving out of 40. Somebody else is moving in very soon. There was a thing in the correspondence paper here. When she first came on board, $120 was owed, and she paid it. But now she said she's not paying. The other balance is his because he's there. So what that means is we've got that building that's got 2 sewers, but only 1 connection's been paid. Same way with water. Now that would be the borough, okay? But
What's the monthly situation? Are they paying for 2 EDUs? or
no,
one?
no, just 1 because he swore. He sent us a letter. We've got it on file that there's only 1 electrical system. It's only one dwelling unit. But she's saying here that Kirk is living in 39 and the new tenant's moving into 40. And unless they're sharing a bathroom,
No, you remember we went through the same thing with Cuddly Bear.
Yes. Yes, I do.
yes, where the tenant got all up, and finally the tenant got mad and said, "Yeah, you know, guess what? There are 2 apartments here." Anyway,
What
I
did
don't.
we do?
How
What
do
did we do? How do we revise Cuddly Bears?
How do we get down here and prove this? We can't just knock on the, send the police.
Well, they can't just go in and look either.
I don't want to go down and knock
Maybe-
on
How
the
many
door.
mailing addresses is there? If there's 2 addresses there, 39 and 40, that means there should be 2.
Well, that's what she's saying, but she's saying the 39 and 40, but I don't know when the 40 would have started because, you
Does the
know.
township have any rental kind of a, what do they call it, rental logs or reporting?
No.
Yeah, they just
There-
started that.
Okay, so there's no information the township would have on this?
She has a record where he applied for a building permit to do some things, but he never has any record that he finished it. He applied for a building permit many years ago and he claims that all he was doing was just fixing it up.
Well, I mean, it's one or the other. And it'd be sort of nice to know what's going on for it to be treated the way it should be. If it's
We
the
just wanted to know,
answer-
how do we find out legally? So that they're not taking advantage of, you know, I mean, here's a customer.
Yeah.
Theft of service.
Should we,
You can't just,
don't send it to the township saying we think we have a...
Well, the police know that he's living there because they helped him move things in. Now, but I've known that for months, but that's because, you know, we were under the assumption that he was just storing stuff there and,
I'm gonna have to, let me think about that.
All right.
Report back to you.
Look into that.
Yeah, we don't want to make this work by getting ourselves in an issue either.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to, it ought to be made right, whichever way it is.
If it's a ratepayer, it's a ratepayer. There's no question about that. Okay, anything else? Anything else to come before this board this evening?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Regularly moved and seconded for adjournment. All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
I got myself in enough trouble.
you didn't get in trouble.
Wait till I see that secretary.
No, no. You haven't seen the secretary since she and I talked about that.
Yeah, aggravating.
Where did I go? I go
Easy,
in my backyard, I
Sam.
think I can find
She
it.
wouldn't have,
Easy, Sam, easy.
I'm the one that told her to take it off of the agenda because she didn't get down there. And I said, there's no point in you going down, or, you know, us bringing it up when we don't have any information. So it's my fault for not telling you. I would prefer if you'd yell at me and not her.
Nah, there's-
Just don't want to be.
Very, very easily could be. All right.
yeah.
Maybe I'll text Mr. Chisholm and see if he's still down.
He just went out. He's leaving.
Oh dear, I never shut this off.